Hey guys, thought I'd do a little how-to video for you. This will be on the Patreon to start with, but eventually maybe I put this out there. But yeah, I've been learning a lot in toon-boom, and there's a lot of little tips and tricks that I use that I don't think I would find anywhere else on the internet. They're really random, but they help me. Maybe they can help someone else. And I just want to say thank you. All your support goes to the channel, goes to making more things, more shows, and yeah, let's jump right into it. And if you can't tell, I'm not used to being on the camera at all. Like, I never do this, so I'm gonna be awkward and weird.
Nice!
Alright, so a lot of these are gonna be random, but that's kind of the point. They're from me personally that I've discovered. You're not gonna find these on any other tutorials, so we'll just go right into it. The first one is the duplicate tool. So a lot of the time I'll be drawing. I use one big file. We'll go over that later. I'll talk about that. For the duplicate tool, a lot of time when I'm drawing, so I got my tablet down here, monitor over here, and then stuff over here, but I'm going to be looking down. I'm going to be looking weird all over this video. But if you can see, it says 1, 2, 3, and you can see my process, excuse me, of drawing this. And what I'll do is over time, I have a little keyboard thing. I'll show it later and talk about it. But I have a hotkey. I think by default it's Alt-Shift-D. I don't know if I can find it. It's kind of not important. It's Control-Alt-Shift-D. What it does, it just duplicates the drawing. So you can see here's the beginning. This is... See, I didn't even know that was there. It's surprising. This is what it ended up being. So you can see for some reason at one point I was thinking this, and then I went with this. So the benefit of this is if you're drawing, let's say I'm drawing a cube, and I eventually I'll decide I don't like this. Instead of erasing it, I can just hit. For some reason I got deselected. I can just hit my hotkey or Alt-Shift-D or whatever, and see it makes another one, 6 now. And then if I come back, oh, I actually liked that, I can come back to it, if I made changes, I actually like that, I like this one better, and come back to it rather than it being gone forever, and I'm so in my head and inconsistent on my drawings, I never know which way I want to go with it. So I can dig in these, and I bet you I'll find one. This is in the background of that that action shot. That one's kind of bad because I have texture on top. I think I scrapped this entirely. Yeah, see how this is completely different. But if you don't erase it, never erase, because you can use all these things later, or you can come back to it, or you change your mind, and when it's selected it makes it blue, which I don't like, but yeah, that somehow turned to that. I don't even think I used this. Maybe I'll use it for something else. But yeah, that's tip number 1, and it can be really useful also for mouths. So let's say we're making mouths here. The benefit of the duplicate tool, I mean, this one isn't that obscure. A lot of people probably use this tool, but I think using it as a tool to save things instead of erase them is pretty unique, and I think it's a good idea. If you do it, my dogs are running around. You'll notice you go back to things a lot. You can change your mind, and you don't have to be so hard. You can try something and then move on. And oh my god, I'll put my dogs away. Alright, so my dogs are settled. That works out anyways because I was going to draw, but I could just pull up a file. I'm not going to zoom out on this because I have spoilers. It's a bigger file of Connor and different points of his life and stuff like that, or different parts, so I can just reuse them. But as you can see with this trick, Alt-Shift-D, I mean, I just have it to 14 on my key binding mouse pack. But you can see instead of drawing them, you could just do this. make different drawings, make substitutions, I think they're called, yeah, drawing substitution. And then, you know, when you're animating the mouth, with the sound on, you can just go through them and, you know, sync it up with the audio. I mean, I feel like I'm actually kind of bad at doing mouth flipping, but I'm getting better. But yeah, so here's another trick for the duplications. I mean, this is probably pretty common, but like I was saying, like my tip for doing them and not erasing, I think that can actually be useful, and people would find it way more useful than you would think, because you can try different colors too, like different shading. It really allows you to just try things that you normally wouldn't, and like don't worry about losing the original drawing or file, or like saving a backup. You could just save it and keep going, because I'm all about like optimum, you know, speed. You got to keep your speed up. You got to just keep going, and then, you know, later you can come back and look through your substitution drawings and keep what you want. On some old drawings, I'll find like ancient like stuff. It's crazy. It's kind of fun to go through them all. But anyways, on to the next one. All right, I added this in a little bit later, but here's a good example. So this is all hand drawn, and you could see my progression. I ended up not using this shot. I just use it as the thumbnail. I cut like a lot, which is a bad thing to do. You want, in animation, you don't want to draw things you're not going to use. Like maybe I'll use them later, but you want, to help this, you can have really tight boards, so you know what to draw. You don't draw things you don't use, but I use it as a thumbnail anyway, so it's not that big a deal. Also, I know my mic is kind of crap. Next time if I do this again, which I plan on, hopefully, I have another couple new things coming out. I just want to keep going. But anyways, I will have a mic, and hopefully it'll be better quality. It's not too bad, I don't think. But anyways, sorry, I'm all over the place. You could see me drawing this. And this was pretty, this is a pretty big drawing. You could see my progression, and I was like so paranoid with screwing it up, and I just wanted options, so I just kept making substitutions. And yeah, sorry, there's like spoilers that I don't want to reveal. I'll have to edit that out. But yeah, anyways, I think this is a good example of why this is kind of cool, you know. Sorry, this is like so hard to get a freaking angle. Oh my god. Anyways, yeah, you can see like I colored it, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing, until it was that. And then I did a little thing in the, wait, no, I just used it for the thumbnail, so the title is here, and then I added something here. This was a scene where it like moved, and I used this, and yeah, I don't want to go too far. Yeah, there's like a lot of cut stuff right here, but anyways, so like I could come back and I could like bring it to here. Recording this is really slow on my thing. And I could, you know, color this and add a thing, and I could, you know, take my pen, and now instead of this, I could, I want to keep the flower, I could like cut this, and then I could, you know, now this could be, you get my point. You could change this, and you could add some things, you know, put a hole here, put another freaking shroom, put a thing, and from this drawing you already had, you can add on to it. Like you would have lost this otherwise, you know what I mean? Alright, I think I got the point across on this. It's not that big a deal. This isn't the biggest tip, but it helps me a lot. It's hard to like explain like how useful it actually is. Like it looks like nothing. But especially with like animating like characters and their facial expressions, like you will save so many facial expressions that you think you'll never use that end up being cool. Or like the eyes, like moving the eyes like an inch can change a whole expression, a whole tone of the scene.
Tip number 2.
Alright, tip number 2. So I'll just talk about how I use this file since I'm here already and I'm like going all over the place. I wish this mic wasn't freaking right here, but it is what it is. So a lot of the times people will use a file where it's just one, and you can come back to it, and a lot of times people will use a file and just have one thing, like one scene, which is great. But you don't really people are so obsessed with like size of files and stuff, but you can get like a 10 terabyte hard drive for like not that much money anymore, and you know, you get an M.2 drive, and these things like really aren't that big of a deal. Like maybe if you're I don't want to miss this too much. There's a node view on this. So here, I would keep mine over here, where you can do a bunch of crazy stuff.
Nice.
And that is what will make the file big. So if you're doing node view stuff, which I honestly skip, it's good. It's advanced. It's too advanced for this video, so I'll skip that. But if you're doing a lot of that, then yeah, keep it one file, because you're gonna have like they use it for Rick and Morty. I don't know if they still do, but they did, where it was like if you had like an arm joint and you moved the arm, it would have like an automatic little flapper thing right here, and it would just like mathematically calculate all that. So if you have like a ton of those, they're called rigs. If you have a ton of rigs, the more you add to it, the bigger the file will be, which will be an actual problem, because the animators will usually make the rigs, and then different animators will use the puppets, and they don't really animate. I mean, they turn stiff and they don't really make drawings, they just animate the puppets. So if you add a bunch of weight to it, it's just going to slow the rigs down. And if you add like a bunch of characters into one scene, it's just going to slow it down. It's going to make it a mess. But if you're not doing that, which, you know, you really don't have to. It's so much better not to, in my opinion, because you could just be so much more fluid. And once you make a puppet, it's so rigid. It's so hard to edit. They're getting better at making it not that way, but I would just avoid it, especially if you're just beginning to learn for like the first time. But if you're not doing that, like, you can make these huge files. I might edit right here. So here's another file I forgot to show before, but you can go to scenes, camera, and I have all these cameras set up. And what I'll do is I have a file I already made that I'll edit to real quick just so I could show, but it has everything in it already ready to go. So all I need to do is open that file and then save it as a new name, and then I can use it without making all the changes. Here, I'll show you right here. So here's the file, and I can just open this. Oh, this is a mega one. I have different kinds. You see like how with 1, 2, 3, it's all numbered. I can go here, camera 3, boom, boom, it's on camera 3. This just kind of shows the render view. And then I like using the green screen. It's blue screen, obviously, but you can change the color of it. But it doesn't really matter. I like blue because I just rarely use blue, and I'll switch to green when I do. So it's really easy. Then here's all the cameras go here. I don't know why I have this. Just so a file already ready, so I can just use it. Like I can just pop it open. Bada bing, bada boom. Bing, bing, bing. I'll make a substitution. Bada bing, bada boom. And, you know, I want to do another thing. Switch, boom, boom, boom. You get the point. So I don't have to spend time. Like, I made this once because for a while I was like making these all separately, and it took like forever actually. And I was like, why don't I just make one and just always reuse it? Like, this was actually a huge thing for me. Like, it saves a ton of time. I love just like, you know, cutting the fat and just getting right to work, and, you know, being efficient and keeping your speed up. Here, if this shot, I can go to scene 6. I think it's already on. Oh, it's on 52. So now I'm in Narnia. No, so here, and I hit the render view, and I added a little bit of shadows to this. I think in the final product. Yeah, I think I did. Maybe not. But I'm pretty proud of this shot. It's kind of cool. I like how it came out, the textures and everything. See, that I can even go in. So what I'll do with texture files, I usually have them on top, just because they're easier to separate. But you can also like come into just a drawing, and you go to overlay and put your texture. I mean, you can even put your texture on the layer, but then it's baked into the actual drawing, which would make it impossible to edit later. I'm all about like trying to reuse shots, or not reuse shots, but like make it so I can go back into the drawing if I want to. I change my mind like all the time, so it just makes it easier. And I think there's a pretty good animation here with the walking, but or not. Oh, I didn't have it. So yeah, you can see like his shoes are a weird color there. Maybe I don't know, they're pretty fine. I think I shaded everything darker. I think you can add like LUTs on top in the edit, which make things darker, like change the color. I don't know why I'm so squirmy right now. So you can see like all these are strokes. Like I can come in with toon-boom. It's so cool that it's all vector. Instead of like a drawing, like if you want to zoom in on something, in traditional animation, it would make that line like huge if I did that with the camera. Like I'll do it right now. You add a keyframe, go to like 20, boom, and zoom in. Like now these lines, if I were to come, they're gonna be pretty big. And then traditional animation, you'd have to redo all that. But I can make a substitution or just erase it. Now you can come and you can adjust the line thickness right here, like that easy. You know, see now, boom, you do that. You can even like select everything. I mean, I would take my time with this if I was actually setting up a shot. I mean, but even that just looks fine. Like, I'll probably have to fill some things in. Yeah, like right here, I would have to like fix this, but I would just like take a pencil and like fill it in, or like a friggin' paint bucket. Well, I have a different mode on. All right, let's actually do it. So I would come in. I wouldn't be drawing on the render camera. Then do it, and then you know, instead of redrawing everything, like this looks fine. I would either get rid of this line or make it smaller. There's so much you can do. And if you notice, I deleted right there, but there was still a line. There's this tool. It's called like a stroke. It is, I'm having a stroke. It is an invisible line, so I could like shade, boom. Like see, there was already one here for this shade. And instead of like using your pencil, like this, it uses invisible stroke line. So now I don't see it. This is with stroke view on, you can see them. And that is a crazy useful tool. Like I use it right here for the shade. I use it all the time, like it's everywhere. You can use it to connect where your paintbrush wouldn't normally, like here. See, these are all stroke lines. Like, I think I was being really sloppy with this kind of, like I was being really fast, so I came in and fixed it all up with stroke line, like probably really fast, like boom, 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 boom. You know, it's an awesome tool. It's right here. It's called the stroke, and then there's a closed gap. Pretty similar stuff, but yeah, that's that. That was a bonus tip. Okay. This is like a 3D space. This is the X, Z, and Y values. Like if I moved his people up closer towards the camera, like it would always be on top then, if that makes sense, because it's closest to the camera. Like if this is the camera and everything is flat, then, I mean, it's probably obvious. That's why the camera's like backwards. But you get it. It's close to the camera, so it's in front. And the reason you do that is if you don't want to mess with your layers. I was showing this because on the layers, like it goes in descending order. So the bottom will always be, you know, this is on the bottom, and then it goes higher on the hierarchy. So you want, I mean, I usually have my textures and shadows and stuff on top. And this is kind of an interesting file. I keep like picking the worst examples somehow, but I guess it's not bad. And if I like wanted like his arm to stick out in front, if I didn't want to move this layer, which for reasons you don't want to sometimes, just because it'll like mess up everything, depending on the file, like sometimes you just want something to be on top, so you can do that with putting that in front, close to the camera. Alright, here's a better example of a parallax shot. I think I was calling it something different before. If you don't know, I think Disney actually invented this in the animation days. They used to use a big camera, and I'll show it on the edit right here. But it's pretty crazy. Like, it would be on the camera would be very far up, and it'd take like 3 guys to work it, and then glasses of plane. And you can see, I'm showing you a picture. But just think of it in this now. Like, here's the camera, here's the glasses of plane. It takes you 5 seconds to do it. It took them all day, so you might as well use it, right? So as you can see, this is here. Boom, boom, boom. And as I move I'll mute this. As I move the camera, my computer is fried, and I am also kind of fried. It is late, and I'm doing it at the end of the day, but you can see how the effect works here. I think this looks pretty good. It's a pretty good shot. It's like walking under the bones. And yeah, it's just a really effective way of like getting more out of your shots, and you could do really interesting things even in 3D software, which I won't talk about a lot because this is all like 2D and toon-boom. But in 3D you can use this too. Like in 3D it's harder because you're working in a 3D space obviously, but you can use tricks like the camera distance and the pane as like a flat shot, but it looks 3D in a way. You know, they call this 2.5D. And it's also like, I mean, it's pretty simple to do. You kind of have to work with it. But I was gonna say, if you're doing this technique of using multiple scenes for one file, the problem with that is if, you know, the camera's here, then this is all messed up, which is fine. It just looks ugly. Like, here's another parallax shot. I like this shot a lot too. And you notice like I use the blue screen because I'll like put like this behind it, and I'll move it, and I'll like add effects, and I just find it really easy to do. It's fun. It's just my style. Like, I really don't know if anyone else does it like this. And then you just you key it out, which you like get rid of the blue screen, and then you could put effects on it. I use DaVinci Resolve, or you could use Adobe, or anything really. I mean, I could even just add it in the shot, you know, boom, and I'm done. But it just adds more things I could do to it, and I can make like a new background and use it. I don't know, it's just how I do things. But I think that's all for this. I thought this was a parallax. I think it could be. Like, that's another thing too. You could just easily come in here, make it a parallax shot, move the camera around. It's not a banana shot, but it's the camera moves with them. Right here. Oh, it is a parallax shot because this goes up, and I was thinking of a different shot. Sorry. Normally, like, my files aren't this messy. I was just at the end, and I just like destroyed everything, but now I know that. I'm learning, like, everything is way more organized. And at the end, I keep it organized instead of just like throw things around. Also, if you don't turn your animation off there and move like camera around on keyframes, it'll automatically animate, and it will make a mess, obviously. So yeah, you can see this here. Boom, boom. Floating heads. These guys are animated, so this is a different way of animating. It's just on key. This is called a motion tween, so you're telling it to move from here to here, so from there to there. Very simple. And you put the camera in the middle, it moves by. And this alone wouldn't look really good, but I mean, this doesn't look that bad actually. But you put effects on it. Like, I think I layered this on top of this, and I put like a LUT on it, and added a shadow, and it just like makes it a more dynamic shot. Okay. Alright, I put glasses on. Don't make fun of me. My eyes are hurting. Here's another example of a parallax shot and of a cleaner file. I just have the numbers hidden. So, I mean, you know the deal with this very simple. This shows it way easier. Like here's the trees, here's the cave, and in the actual shot, I was very subtle with this, and this is a really quick shot, but I like it. But sometimes I think it's better to be subtle about the parallax. It's like almost like subconsciously, it just gives you the feeling of like, you know, 3D. There is 3D shots in this episode. I do that on Blender, but that's like a whole another video. Blender is a beast. It took me like a year to really learn. It's awesome, and it's free, and you can use the freestyle. You can animate fully on Blender. It's great software. It really is. But maybe I'll do another video on that. I was going to talk about it just then, but it's like a whole nother scope. This is already probably pretty long. So here's the parallax. This is way more than I even showed on the actual episode itself. But yeah, you get the point. It just really adds to it. Just bears like slightly moves up and down. Yeah, very kind of poorly. But it's a very fast shot, so yeah. Okay, so this is a banana shot. It's basically, you can kind of see what it is. It's like a flat moving shot, and when you do it fast, it's in the episode, it connects it all together. In real life, like Guillermo del Toro uses he would use like a tracking shot. Like he likes to show two actors would walk into a room and there'd be like a temple on the right. He likes to show like their reaction. They'd walk in, they're like, ooh, and then he takes the camera and moves to the right to show what they were reacting to. This is basically doing that. Like here's the camera, this is where they would be, and then boom, it shows like what they saw, what they were reacting to.
I do this counter movement in all my movies, which is you receive them and you counter with the character. It's in Devil's Backbone, it's in Kronos, it's in Hellboy 2, because I think it's great to discover the space first with the character.
In real life, you know, you would probably dolly it in. Just gonna draw it for you. Like, probably have your little camera here. Here's Del Toro. I'm gonna do that. Like this is a dolly card. Here's a camera. I don't know how that is a camera. There you go. So here's the peeps. And then in real life, this would be, you'd probably like slowly come in, you know, like a panning shot. You'd be coming in, showing the actors. They're like, oh, wow, oh, amazing. You know, you got your like temple right here. I'm so tired. I'm not complaining. I'm just so stupid with my staying up. And I'm so bad with my sleep schedule. It's crazy. So you got your goblet of fire right here. You would be coming in, and then the camera would pivot. Not pivot. So you'd come in on the track, you come in on the dolly, slowly panning in. He does the reveal shot, and slowly the camera moves, and it would be moving at the same time. I mean, you do this a number of ways, but there's a lot of action in the shot. The camera would be probably moving all the time. There's a lot of movement. You see the reaction. You know, the music swells, and then you see like whatever it is. So yeah, but in animation, I mean, you can do it many ways, but this is just fun. It's called a banana shot. I had another one, but I cut it. I'm not going to show that because I am going to reuse that. It's evergreen. You could probably use it for everything, and it's a good shot. It's probably better than this one. This one, honestly, isn't that good. Like it's not amazing with the perspective, and it's too pushed and blah blah blah. You get the idea. Okay, on to the last one, I think. Sorry if this is a bit rambly. This is my first time ever doing this kind of thing. I should get better at it. Alright, and for the last tip, I'm going to show storyboards. They're pretty important because, like I said before, you don't want to waste your time on stuff you're going to cut. You want it pretty locked down. You know, there's different storyboards are like the building blocks. If you show a scene, and then underneath you have notes of what the scene is. You can be more detailed, like sound effects here, music cue here, dialogue here, however you want to do it. There's many ways of doing it. And then an animatic is when it's all put together for video, so you can play it, the sound plays, music plays. I mean, if you have animation or like drawings, they play too. You can do a radio play, which is audio and scratch cut and all that. those are great because then you know exactly what to do. You could just turn your brain off. So I wasn't going to use this. It has spoilers in it, but if you don't want that kind of thing, then don't look. I mean, that's kind of what the Patreon's for. You get the behind the scenes stuff. You know, probably one person gonna watch this anyways, but yeah, this is how I do it. It's just, I mean, I do it different every single time, but this is actually pretty sloppy. But the point is to make one, and you know, you have your structure, you have your shots. Now I could turn my brain off, animate it. You know, I would make an animatic first, have all the dialogue done. It would probably be scratch audio. I mean, it's different from, I have to do stupid stuff, obviously, but it's a weird project. I want to be making my own shows and everything eventually. But it's all practice. It's really hard. Animation's really hard. You know, you gotta get better and put your hours in and all that. So that's what I'm doing. But yeah, you can see I even have like parallax shot. Like I'm gonna have the opening the door, and there's gonna be a little music cue. It's gonna pan like the Del Toro shot. The camera's gonna probably move. I mean, it still could change, and then it reveals what he sees. And you know, I don't want to get into the story, but it should be good. And I think that is it for me. Thanks for watching. I hope someone got something out of it. If you did, give it a like, I guess. I think it's just important to, I've learned a lot. I mean, I feel like I just showed nothing, but I'm really bad at explaining stuff. A lot of this stuff really helped me. It was like huge, like game changers, but I was doing stuff really dumb, I guess. You kind of just learn as you go, and you get better, and it's all like trial and error, you know. My posture over time, like, hey guys, bye! But, yeah, I don't know. I hope you got something out of it. I guess I'm just saying that I'm passing on what I've learned, and I'll continue to do so as I go and get better. And, you know, hopefully it helps someone out. I know when I was starting, I liked watching creators do their thing, and I support them on Patreon, and a lot of them have their, you know, helpful. I guess I'll shout him out, like Worthy Kids is awesome. He has all his Blender and all his how-to animations, and they're great. So go check those out if you want more information too. They're better than mine, but maybe I'll do a Blender one. I do it very similar to him. Like I used it in that, like, in the, not episode, but there's like a little demo. Like I go down the stairs, that was a Blender shot. In the episode, that little meat spinning thing was the 3D shot. There's another 3D shot I can't think of. In the intro where the computer goes down, that's obviously a 3D shot, and the walls. And yeah, it's a helpful tool. You gotta like learn how to really blend them together, unless it's like your style to have it stand out away. Kind of like Smiling Friends. They have like the mix of all mediums in like a crazy way. Like there's stop motion, there's claymation, there's 3D. Yeah, they just embrace it. And that could be cool too, but with this project, I think it's cool to keep it all as, you know, coherent and meshed together in the same style as I can. Push it in some places. But by the way, you don't need toon-boom, you don't need a tablet. You can start with all the free software. toon-boom has a free student thing. You don't need a tablet. I started with a little drawing pad. There's tons of free software. You can look and find it, but yeah, anyways, I am just rambling now, so I will say goodbye to you guys. Thanks for watching. Okay. Say hi. She was a rescue, alright? Don't judge me for having an albino. We had to get her. Didn't expect to keep her. She's very cute. She's one of 4.